In today's video, I'm going to be talking and discussing about one really detrimentally important marketing principle that is not really understood. And this, I call it simple yet complex marketing principle, is what is literally allowing people to go from one level to another, achieving scale. Before we go further into the video, if you are a new viewer, my name is Brando. I actively work with 7 and 8-figure brands. This is just one of our own clients, just so you see the type of caliber of clients that we typically used to working with. They did over $1 million in the last 30 days. Great, so let's get into the video. Before we move on, I do want to say one thing. I'm going to bring you through a company. I'm going to show you in just 1 second that is absolutely crushing it with this strategy and approach, which I'll be discussing soon. I just think it's way easier to show, don't tell. So stick until the end if you want to see the entire process. This company I am referring to that we will be discussing as I go through these principles is called BugMD. I'm not sure entirely what their revenue is, but I know that they do multi 8 figures. If we take a look at the number of active ads they have 361 active ads, as you can see over here, if I filter by active ads in this page. And they also have another page which is called Pest Control Secrets. As you can see, BugMD, it's the same company. And I believe they also have another like 50, 60, 70, maybe 100 ads. They have 200 here. Let's take a look at how many active ads they have, which is always good to understand. Okay, 200. So between these two pages, they have like 500, 600 active ads, which means that they're running a multi 8-figure operation profitably, or else, they wouldn't be scaling. Okay, so let's go over one really important marketing principle before we move forward. I'm not going to start discussing about what a level of a stage of awareness is, but I kind of am also, because this is really important. And I'm also I'm not going to discuss it deeply like 30 minutes in talking about awareness stages, but just to remind you, these are the 5 levels of awareness that a person typically has. Completely unaware, right? Doesn't recognize that they have a problem yet. No, and by the way, before I move on, stick until the next part, because then I'm not going to talk about this. You're not going to understand the marketing principle. This is just to give you some context to better understand what I'm about to say. Okay, so unaware, they don't know about it, no interest in solutions. They don't even know they have a problem. Problem aware, they know they have a problem, but just they don't know that the solution exists. Solution aware, they know that there are solutions. They're just not maybe ready to buy. Product aware, they already know your product or products that are similar to yours. And most aware, they fully are aware of your product and your brand and are really ready to buy. And they're typically just waiting for discounts or urgency. Now, we have to understand this marketing principle. I took an example for the pest control industry, just to give an example, because we are, as you can see, going after pest control. This company is doing pest control. So I know for a fact that this industry is worth $30 billion. Okay, and if we and this is kind of the marketing principle. I have other things to show you over here in just a second. But what's really important to understand is that if you go after people that are most aware, compared to going after people that are unaware, the TAM, the addressable market, is way superior when you go after unaware people, because of course there are going to be more people in the unaware stage that you can target, right? That can reach mass scale. So in many cases, right, as we go down in all cases, that's what I meant to say. As we go down in the awareness stage, where it's warmer and warmer, instead of going after like ice cold, highly scalable stages of awareness, it becomes less scalable. Why? Because most aware people, there's only 3 to 4% of the market. Right? It's still a billion, right? That's why there's a lot of companies actually, and this is the marketing principle that I wanted to discuss, is that most people, right, they run ads that are not optimized for stages of awareness, but most importantly, most brands, they just stop at most aware, product aware, and solution aware, right? And so they cap and they just can't scale, and they reach a ceiling. But the reason they reach a ceiling is because they're trying to scale, right? And now they're trying to scale a marketing, a sales process that is not scalable in the first place, or is not scalable as much as they want to scale, right? And so I'm talking about billions here, so this is just an example. Every vertical has their own addressable market, but in most cases, most marketers are going after the 4%, the 6%, and the 10%, right? They're still decently sized markets, but it's overly saturated. It's really competitive. You're competing against the most not expensive, but like the most well-known brands, and it's really hard to kind of scale, because there aren't a lot of people actively looking. Like 4% is 4%. It's unreasonable. And by the way, would you say, hypothesis, that this 4% is more or less expensive to market to an unaware kind of market sophistication, right? And so this is why a lot of brands are just not able to scale, right? Let me just read what I wrote over here. Brand owners start with low-hanging fruit, meaning the product aware, most aware, right? Solution aware. They go after product and solution where they find a sales process that converts, typically a very direct sales process, and then this happens. They test the problem aware because they understand that they need to expand the awareness stages, and completely unaware stages, and they get better cost per clicks and front end ad metrics, so better like cost per clicks, higher maybe CTR, lower CPM, right? But their conversion rate sucks or isn't strong enough to generate profitable results. So this brings me to kind of like my next kind of like the whole principle of marketing, right? Let's just say that this is your funnel that converts at 5% and you have sales process number 1, right? The awareness level of people that you're going after, as you can see here, this is an ad that they are running, right? That has a particular funnel that is like last call to buy, last 2 pallets selling out. This is an example of like an extremely high level of awareness. So like most aware, right? Let's just take the example that this could be a product aware or a solution aware or a most aware ad. It has a particular type of sales process. A lot of people, they try to expand their awareness levels with ads. So they maybe do like this, 1 minute VSL, right? Where the awareness level of the user that is consuming the video is so low because they have no idea if they even want it. They maybe don't even know they have the problem. That's an example, like completely unaware, so very hard to convert. And they use the same exact sales process and mechanism. And the only difference is that, the ad actually is giving you better metrics, but this conversion rate is typically not enough of a high conversion rate to scale what you have and make it profitable. So this becomes unprofitable. This is profitable. You might be thinking that you're a killer because you have a 5, 6, 7% conversion rate, but most likely you are just scaling the levels of awareness that are just most aware, product aware, solution aware, right? In most cases, product aware and solution aware, right? Unless you're targeting your own customers where they're like most aware. But these are like ready to buy customers typically, so they're just looking for a quote, right? So, but these are typically the 3 that you go after. So you need to understand that in order to convert what is scalable, meaning this highly scalable level and stages, which are typically 1 and 2 unaware stages and problem aware stages, right? They have like 60 and 20% of them. You're basically going after 80% of the market. If you're going to go after 80% of the market, you have to understand this principle that you need to shift your sales process. So in most cases, most aware audiences go through maybe, this is more than enough, 2-minute VSL, 60-second UGC ad, whatever it is, direct offer, boom, ready to buy. They already know. When you're going after more aware audiences, you typically have to prolong or have like much more detailed sales processes that allow a person that is not aware to becoming fully aware and ready to buy within the next 5 to 20 minutes, right? I say 5 to 20 minutes because between consuming the ad and actually going through your advertorial, direct offer, whatever it is, right? It's typically a lot more, it's 20, 30 minutes maybe, right? I'm going to bring you through an example of how this company is absolutely killing it. And then I'm going to bring you to, as you see, I did a screenshot of the entire sales process for one of their funnels, and then I added some notes, so we can go over this in just a second. But let me show you exactly what they're doing on the back end so we can see what's working. And by the way, this is a strategy that we're also implementing, and we can see an immediate shift that whenever we switch the ad type here, and we also create a congruent sales process that makes sense to combine with this type of a level of stage of awareness that we're going after with the ad, then the numbers just really radically like shift, and they make sense economically to scale in the first place. So once again, a lot of people don't understand this difference. They use the same sales process, completely different levels of awareness, and then they ask themselves, hey, why am I not converting with this ad? So let's move forward and let's actually discuss some examples of funnels. So this is what they're doing. As you can see over here, they're sending over traffic to different landing pages. 20% it's going over here, 70%, 15%, 13%. All of these are advertorials that cater to the different level of awareness that they're doing on the ads. So as an example, this is just one of their sales pages. Let me just bring you through this other example. All right, landing pages. And as you can see, they're sending traffic to this, 11%. And by the way, it says 11%, but there's like duplicates with like small variations. So this is more like 40, 50% from what I saw. And so they're sending traffic to this very, very good sales page. Their sales process is actually shorter, but this article that they're writing over here is like really, really, really long. Okay, it's like a lot of words, a lot of context. It's like not like a typical advertorial that's like maybe a couple of scrolls and you go through the advert. It's not like a 2-minute read. This is more like a 10-minute read because it's quite long. And so what they're doing is that they're leading with an offer specifically for first-time buyers because they know that they're going after cold audiences for sure, but also first-time customers. They also say this offer is not available on Amazon to create exclusivity, discount only available while supplies last, whatever. And so they're doing like a 68% off stock is low thing. and they're putting some social proof. This is like a hook. Then they go into nurturing people with stats and introducing a specific hook saying, before spending thousands in damages from rodents, read this, right? So they're going through stats, and now they introduce your home isn't, the only thing at risk from destructive rodents. What is? In this case, they talk about wires, right? Somewhere here. They talk about rats. In this case, it's rodents. Rodents actually going through your wires and creating damages of like thousands of dollars internally within your home, right? And then it says, the moment I discovered exterminators can cost up to $500, I knew I needed another solution. Though they're creating a level of resonance with the customer, excuse me. And so they're giving people a lot of context and educating people on why it's expensive, failed solutions, right? I have a diagram to show you how, I have some notes on this landing page, but this is a lot more of a complete sales process. So next time that you think, and by the way, I'm not going to do a video on 1 hour long here. Why I'm doing this video is for you to understand that in many cases, all of the ads that they're going to this landing page, we can actually take a look. There's 41 active ads to this specific landing page. All of these ads have very similar, are also like kind of similar ads, as you can see over here, because they're going after specific, most of these are probably retargeting. These are like more on different levels of awareness. But my point is this: if you want to go after this process, it doesn't mean that you cannot run retargeting ads, right? Or going after more aware people. But it's wrong to assume that with a colder sales process that you can use like a traditional kind of direct to product page approach where there's price, offer, and just some descriptions and some testimonials. It's not enough to convert those people. That's why you're seeing a drop in conversion rate. So although this sales process is also kind of direct, meaning that it goes to like a small little product page with some features and benefits and like a checkout where they can choose the packages, choose their credit card and everything, you see, they can proceed, right? The problem here is that, not the problem, their sales process here is that it's just long. It's just very, very detailed. So this is what I really like about what they're doing. They're just giving context. They are bringing people from unaware to aware in a couple of simple steps. Okay, not very simple because it's hard to write a very, very good advertorial. But what we do with AI now is that what I would like to do if you're in a similar industry is I would copy and paste all of this, put it into ChatGPT, right? A tool like this, right? And so here what I did is I basically asked it for the structure so that I can model it. So this is the advertorial structure. It starts with a banner, right? As you can see over here, there's the banner right at the top, right? So these are all things that you can kind of take into consideration when you are writing your own advertorial. Then it talks about there's a big hook with a headline, which is most likely this what it's referring to. Before spending thousands in damages from rodents, read this, right? So then it talks about sharing pain and credibility, right? Relatable opening story of how, people went through this and are going through this, right? Problem aware. Then problem amplification. They do this very, very well as they keep on saying, hey, it's not just about the rodents themselves. It's about the damages that you create for the wires that these rodents are actually chewing within the realm of your household, right? And then it continues doing, the expensive cost of dealing with rodents in your home. It's amplifying the problems, right? Problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3, right? You get also sick. So it's amplifying until eventually, after more amplification, it introduces the product very organically. And then you get to see kind of like the offer, and there's a bunch of call to actions, right? Then it starts talking about the product, but only after the problems are being confronted, once and only after we introduce the pain, right, of expensive, right, of because it's expensive to call, pest control companies, or because they're wasting money or whatever, or because they're getting sick. So it's a very kind of like thought through sales process. And so if we go on with the structure here, I basically just copied and pasted text here and asked it for a structure. Then they go over the new discovery, the breakthrough moment, right? And then the introduction of the product in a soft way, proof and social validation, benefits, and then offer stack. It's basically on the top, on the bottom, and then there's an FAQ. So I wouldn't say this is an advertorial, although they actually do a lot of advertorials as well. If you take a look at this is also one of their top landing pages. If you're tired of mice chewing, nesting, and leaving droppings all over your home, this science-driven solution is a must. Here's why. So it's going after mostly problem aware. So once again, people that are, they're not over here perhaps completely unaware, but they are definitely problem aware. I do have to say one important thing as well that I noticed is that in many cases, these brands that go after like problem aware titles, I say a problem aware title because these people obviously know that they have mice in their home. They also kind of like give you some context to nurture people, assuming that they are also unaware. So this is an example. Do you think you have mice in your home? right? Most people don't even realize that it's never really is just one mouse that are usually Most people don't realize that it never really is just one mouse. There are usually dozens of more, right? Just hiding in places you wouldn't expect, especially because a mice can squeeze through cracks as small as a dime, right? And so it's opening up possible problems that people didn't even think about, making the person unaware of the problem, right? So still an unaware audience. So in many cases, there are a lot of problems that people don't even know they have. And so it's an opportunity for you to create an amazing landing page or ad tutorial like this that brings them through the same whatever I just explained in the other page, right? This is very similar. It's just a different structure, right? Note, after reading this, you'll probably never go another day without using this from your house for your mouse problem, right? So anyways, read through these articles. If there's one thing that I really recommend to do is, like, if you don't have this inspiration for this, use a tool like Atria, where you can basically dissect what's working, and that's model, use ChatGPT, right? And then build your own. And guess what? ChatGPT can also write it for you, so you don't have to reinvent the entire wheel. Just make sure it's your own words, of course, and stuff like that. That is it for this video. Hope this was valuable. My goal with this video was not to, like, it's maybe to give you a little aha moment for you to understand that when you're if your funnel is not working with another ad, it's maybe because there isn't a congruency between the levels of stages of awareness that you're attracting on the ad level compared to what maybe you're showing for more awareness stages on the sales process side. That is it for this video. If you are a brand doing $100,000 a month plus or minus, and you want a consultation or a free audit to explore the opportunity of working with us, then there's a link down below. That is it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye.